Today I will cover different ways to create an image with which to expose a photopolymer plate that will be printed in the Intaglio method. Remember that Intaglio is a printmaking process where ink is applied over the entire surface of the plate and then the excess is wiped away. The ink is held in the lower levels of the plate, not the raised areas as with a relief plate. Next I will show you two plates, each exposed to the same image printed on film. Here is the plate when made using the Intaglio method. And here it is in relief. The key concept with exposing these plates is that light hardens the emulsion, so the more light that passes through the image, the harder and therefore smoother and lighter that area will be. Intaglio plates are almost always exposed with an aquatint screen. This provides an irregular speckling of dots, so some areas are blocked and some aren't. Areas where very little light passes through your image will have a rougher texture as parts of the emulsion wash out, enabling them to hold more ink. The aquatint screen provides a texture so only some of the emulsion washes out, not all of it. There are many different ways to go about making an image, but because of how the plate is exposed, you won't need to worry about reversing it. With photopolymer, what you see is what you get, so you can expect gradations of value, subtle marks, and fine details to print. It's a good idea to make the image slightly larger than the plate itself to make it easier to line everything up when you do go to expose. This example here shows the drawing on the left and the print on the right. This drawing was made on one-sided frosted mylar, which is an excellent material for dry media, such as graphite, charcoal, ink, pastel, micron pens, or any other medium that will block light. Sharpie does not block light. The thinner the mylar, the better, because this material does add a little plate tone. You can achieve different effects with double-sided mylar by drawing on both sides. Zig pens are another option for use with mylar and do a fantastic job blocking light. When applied thickly, India ink works as well, although it can be a little bit less predictable as a wash. Water media mylar, such as Duralar, works well for wet media because it won't bead up on the surface. You can also make an image using a transparency or film. Film will hold a continuous tone more effectively than a transparency. Here you can see the film on the left and the transparency on the right. Transparencies are more prone to streaking and smearing in the printer. Printing these in grayscale with a color printer yields the best detail and density for light blocking. Transparencies and film are good options for photographic work, but also digital. You can also use them to alter or invert a drawing you've already made. You can manually draw back onto film, manipulate the ink or toner on the surface, cut sections away, or collage elements together. One of my favorite drawing surfaces is frosted glass. This works for both wet media and dry. Because it can be grained after use, it can be reused over and over again. When drawing on glass, it's helpful to lay a sheet of paper underneath. This also applies to any of the other transparent materials mentioned earlier. Take care to keep your hand elevated, not only to prevent smearing, but also because grease and oils from your hand can sometimes be seen in the finished print. Here I'm using a little lift, but a ruler elevated on thin books works just as well. Glass is a wonderful surface to draw on. It is cool to the touch, with a tooth making it similar in many ways to the limestone used for lithography. It holds detail to such a level that a pencil mark on the glass will read as a pencil mark in the finished print. In addition to graphite, images can be made using ink, charcoal, or almost any drawing medium. Avoid chunky or gooey materials that may disrupt the seal formed during the contact exposure or leave residue on the aquatint screen. Like frosted mylar, the glass does leave a slight plate tone to the final print. Keep in mind that the color of your image does not correlate to the color of your print. For example, this drawing was made with gray acrylic paint. The paint will block light, so those areas will hold a lot of ink. Even though the drawing itself is light in color, if the plate were printed with black ink, those areas would print black, because the acrylic is so thick no light can pass through it. I will discuss exposure and printing in subsequent videos.